Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 314 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is I, Dustin, with Last Stand Media. Hello, MrMattyPlays. We meet once again.
Indeed.
That sounded like Hello, Mr. Bond. We meet again.
Yeah, you got
like
a little
our
bassy.
nemesis. Yeah, I like it. Matty, you're getting me fresh. I took a shower, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. My hair's already dry because I have very I have very thin hair.
So
like
do I.
super thin. It dries super quick. But I had to be fresh because I was telling you I'm getting a haircut after this. And I feel like you should try to take a shower as soon as beforehand as much as you can so you're fresh for when they're cutting your hair.
Really? See, I'm of the mindset, I think the freshness comes from going in no shower and then having them cut your hair in its most greasy, natural state, and then showering to get rid of all the extra hairs on you. For me, I get a little itchy after a haircut sometimes. And,
That's true.
And so then when I shower, I can really see just how the cut came out. Because that first cut you get, unless someone really fucked up, you're probably going to walk out feeling pretty good about yourself. But it's not, to me, at least with my hair, it's not until you wash it and it feels like everything just shrinks a little bit. It's like, oh, man. I'll get like a weird bump in my hair. It's like, I don't like that. No.
I strategically am getting the haircut now because it is, let's see, 3 weeks away from the live event. And I want it to be, you don't want to look too fresh cut. Like you want it to be
natural,
grown in a little bit, a little natural. So that was strategic. Now, Matty, while we're on this train here, I go to a barber shop, which is cool. This is a new thing for me this past year, is going to a barber shop, because there's like these two cool hipster dudes that run this barber shop, and they do they'll do the straight razor on your neck and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And the hot towel. It's nice. The only thing is they don't wash your hair or anything like that.
Oh.
Dude, having someone wash your hair is I'll just say it is a borderline orgasmic, sensual. I don't know what, when the hot water hits and it's the scalp massage.
Yeah.
It's
your shoulder muscles are relaxed because they're not usually how they are above your head. Yeah, there's something special about that moment. You're entirely correct. And I've learned to just appreciate the haircut. I need one before we go, because when I got my hair cut, when it was nice, tight, and shorter, it was a part. So if you look, my left hair goes down to my cheek, right? Left side of my hair.
Yeah.
But my right side, not as long.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
a little uneven. My beard grows in uneven.
Yeah.
This side of my beard will get when it starts to get long, I'm like, why is this side longer than this side? It really bothers me.
I get that sometimes too when I really grow it out. So I always keep it trimmed to a 6 here and then a 4 for the mustachio. And it's worked out pretty well. Shout out to my Philips razor. Pretty good.
That's right.
Anyway, Dustin, this is a gaming podcast. Yeah. I'm sure the audience already knew that. So with that, let's talk about what we're playing. That's something that's really important here. Dustin, what have you been firing up as of late?
Matty, to be honest, not a lot the past week, this past week. Mainly because I've been prepping because the new Evangelion movie is out today on Amazon Prime. It's very exciting, the 4th and final movie. So I've been rewatching the other 3.
Right.
I'm behind because I was able to watch 2 of them, and the 3rd one I still have to watch. So I'm probably going to watch the 3rd and the 4th one today once I'm done, just back to back, because I'm too excited. I don't want to get hit with spoilers.
Gotcha.
But I did play a little bit. It was last weekend, I guess. It was last Friday when I played the Back 4 Blood beta. Which, wait, did we talk about that
last? We did talk about this extensively.
You're right, man. Time has lost all meaning.
Yeah, for 40 minutes of it, now that I think about it.
We did. Holy shit, Matty. I think I'm dying because I can't remember anything.
I heard you say that on your stream. I clicked on it for 5 seconds, and that's the one thing I got was I'm really concerned. I'm not remembering many game stories, and I'm very worried about this.
I don't know.
You might be tired, honestly. I don't know if you've been working a lot lately.
Well, you know what? I did have one night where I was up till 2, And then sometimes if I stay up too late, I can't fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day I was running all day. So maybe it's that. I think it's also just like maybe it's because when you're really busy and you have to be like on to the next thing, on to the next thing, it's like you don't suck things in as much.
Yeah, I guess
so. I'm trying to think if I've been playing still Trigger Witch. Actually, no, that is something I played a lot of this week was Trigger Witch earlier in the week in particular, which I've already talked about on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very good. It's a super cute, really fun game. It's a twin stick. We've had this discussion on Sacred Symbols about what a twin stick shooter is.
Right.
And there's been some controversy on whether or not, like, what do you think? What is a twin stick shooter?
Always isometric camera view. Like, it's always got to be top down, right? 2 analog sticks.
Right. Some people are making the distinction that a twin stick shooter is only when the right stick does the shooting as well as the aiming. Like, if you use the right stick to aim and then a trigger button to shoot, then it's not a twin stick.
That's
so like
odd.
Hotline Miami is not considered a twin stick shooter because
or the
you
Ascent
shoot
wouldn't
with
be.
a separate button.
The Ascent
Neither would be the Ascent.
Yeah, that's
according to some people. In my opinion, we got to be a little relaxed. At the same, like, we don't want to have too many distinctions in genres because that's how you get Souls-like, rogue-like, RPG, adventure, and I can't stand that.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm just like, it's just a twin stick. As long as it's top down and you're using the left and right stick to either aim or shoot and move.
Yeah. No,
that's fine with
you're
me.
entirely correct.
So, but yeah, Trigger Witch, very cute, very charming. Which for full disclosure, I did receive that code for free from, I believe it's Rainbite. This is and this happened last week too, where I accidentally said the wrong developer. Yeah, they sent us the codes because Colin is friends with them, and John O'Peck is a friend of the show. But it's very cute. I love it. What I'm liking about it now is that it has, this is going to sound as a weird comparison, but it has a bit of a Doom Eternal like mechanic where you don't, once your weapon is out of ammo, your best course of action is to switch to another because it takes some time. So it really forces you to use your full arsenal of weapons, which I appreciate. Just because I find myself as the type of guy that I find a weapon that I really like, and then I'll just use that. But I kind of like it when games force me, because then I'll eventually figure out, like, oh, actually, you know what, I do like this.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It kind of reminds me of Ratchet & Clank in a way, the way you feel like forced to switch, level up those weapons, see what they do in their evolved form, and then you find what you really like through that.
But other than that, Maddie, just watching anime. I went to a concert last night in Pittsburgh.
No way.
I believe this was the first live music I've seen since COVID started.
I would imagine so.
And it was my one of my good friends, Mike Maines. He's like it's interesting. He's not like unknown. It's not like a local act, but it does have a smaller following. But I've followed him for years and years, and eventually like became friends with him. And
that's awesome. He
like had me out on a part of his tour at one point, and so we've been friends for years. But anyway, they were in town last night. Awesome music. Mike Maines and the Branches. Shout out.
Nice.
And yeah, just ready for some more anime.
Mm-hmm. I like the sounds of that. Speaking of, it's interesting because we've had I think for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had really long what we're playing sections. So this will probably feel a little different for the audience, given that, it's going to be its normal length, which is about 20 minutes. The main new thing I played this past week, so I've put about 10 to 15 hours in Neo: The World Ends With You.
Maddie, I've been hearing about this.
I'm a little annoyed, Dustin.
Really? Okay.
No, not at the game. At Square. How dare they not market this game? And they marketed the hell out of Balan Wonderworld, or Land, or whatever it's called. I don't get it, Dustin. This game is good. It's very good. I mean, on a system level even, the story can be a little hazy if you're not a fan of its delivery. It's kind of told in a handheldy fashion. It's identical to its DS counterpart from 2008 in that way. But beyond that, I mean, its gameplay systems are really fun. Have you ever played The World Ends With You or looked into it at all, or should I just start from the bare bones and kind of build up?
I think I played a little bit of it, the original, but it didn't grab me at the time. Some people, so I was talking about this, I believe, in the Last Stand Discord with people, or maybe it was my Discord. I don't remember. Either one. Some people are saying that this new one they're like, man, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to go back, even with the remake, not remake, but remaster that they put out on Switch, because it's clear that it was made for a dual screen with the DS. So a lot of people were telling me to watch the anime and then play this new game. I was like, cool, I'll check out the anime, but it probably won't be until next week. What the fuck? Do you hear this super loud car going by?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. That's never happened in all the podcasts we've done together.
Dude, during Sacred yesterday, I was like constantly like muting myself because there was like motorcycles and all stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? So anyway, next week I'm going to check out the anime, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Matty, this is a Tetsuya Nomura joint.
Yes, but here's the thing. He did the character art. He has not laid his fingers on the story, and you can tell because it's very, not straightforward, but yeah, it's good, and it's digestible, and it seems cohesive and well thought out, and it's not multi-dimensional. It's really cool. All right, so let me start off from the bottom for those who aren't familiar with The World Ends With You. The idea is essentially you're stuck in purgatory. They don't really call it that. You get entered into the Reaper's game, though, and this happens when you die. Now, you're playing as a teenager in this game, Rindo, and the idea is, like, he doesn't know how he died. Like, him and his friend Fret are in this, and they're both like, well, we didn't die. They're like, yeah, you did. You're dead.
Right.
And so it's this kind of creepy feeling as when you enter the Reaper's game, you're still running around Tokyo. You're not, like, in heaven or hell. Like, you're in between. And you play this thing called the Reaper's game, and if you win, you get one wish. And I imagine most will say, you want to escape. There's other teams, though, amongst the Reaper's game that are competing, and so you're kind of battling them for points. And the game has its own, literally and figuratively, style, which is, it's all about clothes and pins. So your armor in this game, instead of putting on, like, plate legs or gauntlets, you're putting on different fashion items, like a necklace or a handbag. You don't see any of this visually, but it's what augments your stats. And you're using pins that do a massive variety of things. It was one of the big stars of the show or the game, sorry, I should say, in the original DS game was you could like blow into the DS microphone to do a certain attack that would shoot out poison mist, or you would draw the DS stylus in circles and that would do like a spinning attack. And there were all different ways you could do it, provided whatever pin you had equipped would match that motion you were doing on your DS. And so I was concerned, how is that going to translate to console? And I think it's much better because for every face button is a pin assigned to one of your characters. And you can make amazing combos and just lock up opponents. And there's legitimate, incredible depth here. I would go to the length of saying this is one of the most fun action hack and slash games I've played in a while. Not like Hades level, by the way. I'm not saying that. Hades is clean, well thought out, fair. This is just from a design standpoint, the combos, the potential, like you will be playing extremely differently from me. And it's one of the few times you can say that about a game confidently, because there are so many you are unlocking that do a variety of things, melee, pincer attacks, different elements, different ways of shooting your weapons, charge attacks. I mean, healing. There's so many different comps to it. And when you combine that with how you engage with battles, you gather this thing. They're called noise. It's hard to explain other than they're the creatures that you fight in this world. You have to literally like open up your senses. You'll enter this sort of the screen will change a little bit, and you'll start to gather these sort of red globs, and you could stack up to 5 and then more later in the game to do these chain battles. So this is kind of something like, for those who are really into niche RPGs, like Blue Dragon, where you could string together random encounters. You're able to do that in this game, which I always thought was excellent. I think it's such an underrated design philosophy in RPGs. And as you fight, your hunger meter goes down, and then you go to stores and you'll buy food. And this is how you up your attack, your defense, your style, so you can wear different clothes, your HP. I don't know if I said that already, but Anyway, the idea is you're almost in that rhythm as you're exploring, doing quests. And I just think on a systemic level, when you look at the gameplay for this title, it's so good. Leagues and beyond better than anything they've produced in a long while. Of course, outside of, I'd say, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Sure.
This is such a strong game. It's so well realized on an artistic front, right? The way the cutscenes are delivered, I think, is very unique. It works for the game, and granted, there may be some bias there because I'm already familiar with how they've delivered their story, so it just kind of translates well for me personally. There are general cutscenes in the game, but just the open exploration as you're in these different sectors of Tokyo, and the way like the buildings kind of bend in front of you, where it keeps this idea that like you're in Tokyo, but like this is a really fucked up version of it. It's not like doing, demons are flying all around you and stuff. It's clearly trying to represent what Tokyo looks like, and you'll see people moving around like in Persona, but they can't see you. So it kind of creates this isolation. And overall, like I said, I'm definitely closing in on 15 hours with the game. I finished it goes day by day. And then each Reapers game goes on for a week, and that's how they compete. And I know that I am done with the first week, and I'm on to the second week now. I'm guessing there's like 4 weeks in the game. But it's just been really enjoyable so far. I was looking forward to it, but I was kind of cautiously optimistic because, it was one of those moments where I can't believe this game exists, man. Like this was like a no way it's actually happening. But the way they didn't market it showed me no confidence. But then they made an anime for it, and I'm like, but that's such a big commitment. They've said they want to make it a series big like Kingdom Hearts, like Final Fantasy, and I'm like, all right, but I'm not really seeing you put in the effort to do so. And the numbers have shown the game sold really bad. So,
right.
If anyone's a physical collector, I'd say this is one you might want to snag pretty soon, because I don't imagine they're going to be printing a ton of copies for it. But long story short, I have been really enjoying The World Ends With You. And if you're into Square Enix JRPGs, I would say give this one a look, because it has been so far one of my favorite games of the year.
Dude, I'm looking at some gameplay of it now. It's totally not what I expected. I actually have never seen gameplay until now, watching this. And I guess I was thinking of the old game, and they really did change it up a lot.
Yeah, and there's this kind of chemistry you build with your team because, like I said, the combos are so legitimately good, and there is a challenge within the combat system. Like if you slip, you can take real damage, and it's just the way you're always like, it looks frantic if you're watching it, but when you're playing it, oh man, it feels so great. I've really been having fun with it, and my expectations were low going in because I had a friend who was very excited for it. And he was like, beyond hyped. And he went in and loved it. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of expected that. And then I went in and I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about. Now I love it. And I'm like, okay, this is legitimately a good game as far as I'm
Which
concerned.
friend was it? Was it Kopi?
This was Soul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Soul.
I don't think I know him.
Yeah.
No.
But he is a big The World Ends With You fan. This was the game he was waiting for all year. For me, it was like that. I don't want to buy in yet. But I got it on launch day to support the team because it's crazy that they even made it. So
right. Yeah, this is one, Maddie, it's interesting because I'm definitely interested, especially if I really like the anime. I feel like I'll definitely check it out. But since it didn't sell very well, I'm kind of like, well, does that mean it's going to be on sale? Like,
yeah,
really
it'll
soon?
go on sale first. Yes.
Like, I feel like this is one if I wait maybe, I don't know,
Black Friday.
2 to 3 weeks.
Not even.
Well, even Black Friday, yeah. I was just thinking like it would probably be $40 pretty soon.
I would be shocked if it weren't. Yeah, I'll say that for sure. I'd be very shocked if it weren't on sale soon because it's just not selling well, and the marketing team at Square has to take the blame for that because it's not that they had a bad game on their hands. They just they outwardly thought that Balan, you could almost override how bad the game was by saying, oh, look how cutesy and fun it is, and parents will buy this. Whereas Square is really known for their JRPGs, and they have a fucking good one here. A good action RPG from Square to me feels so rare. Like they did the Trials of Mana remake, and I remember playing the demo for that, and like the voice acting was awful. and the combat felt terrible. And I was like, man, they just like Square sometimes shits out some games, and sometimes they make some really good ones. And this one did not receive that marketing at all. And so I hope it does well enough where they can do more with the series already. Like, you know, even if I end up not liking it at the end, I just want them to keep the series alive and see what happens if they throw more money at it. Right? I think,
Maddie,
I think it deserves it.
I didn't realize all the trailers I saw were all Nintendo Switch branded. I didn't realize this was also available on PlayStation 4.
Just whatever anyone does, do not look at the, put this in quotes, final trailer for The World Ends With You, because they give it the good old Kingdom Hearts 3 experience.
Oh, that's what I was watching.
No way.
But I have no idea what I was looking at. Like, I actually already kind of don't remember it.
Okay, that's good. Dude, so, see, you dying is working out beautifully here. You know, you've already forgotten.
I mean, I remember what I saw. There's nothing. I didn't have the audio on either since I was listening to you talk. So
okay,
but
that's
hilarious.
It
looked like cool action. But
yeah, because when my friend beat it, he looked at it and he was like, "Don't watch it." He's like, "They spoil everything."
No.
Yeah,
dude, that's a Square Enix thing, dude.
I don't get it. I don't understand. It's so wild.
So, what other? Okay, what was I gonna ask you, Maddie?
I don't know.
So I'm looking on Amazon now. It made me think of, because it's like showing me all these anime games.
Oh.
I wonder if seems like Ace Attorney, the great Ace Attorney, kind of came and went too. Did you play that? Are you into Ace Attorney at all?
I had him on Defining Duke. Cog was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm liking what I'm seeing with Ace Attorney. I was like, shut up. I was like, go fucking play Danganronpa and shut up. Like, I was like,
man.
Like, I am the gatekeeper when it comes to Ace Attorney. I will not, if you are in my vicinity and I hear you talking about Ace Attorney and how you've never played Danganronpa, I'm like, no, you don't get it yet. You have not seen the other side yet. You need to be enlightened. That's all there is to it. I like Ace Attorney. I just think Danganronpa is so infinitely better on every front. Not even because it's an anime game. It's just better.
Dude.
It's just that simple. It's just a better game.
Danganronpa is top tier.
It literally is. Out of any new series that I think's come out in the last decade on a story front, I think it's the best. Like it.
The only thing that comes close to me is Zero Escape, and then they fumbled in the third game.
Yeah, Time Dilemma's not good. Yeah,
we're the only dude. Well, I think we've talked about this. We're the only ones that really feel like that because that game scored very highly.
Which game?
Zero Time Dilemma.
Really?
Zero. Dude,
maybe there's like a true ending I missed. I don't know. But I'm also the mindset that a lot of reviewers don't finish the games they play. So
that's probably true.
Yeah,
actually, it's not probably true. It is true.
Yeah.
Zero Time Dilemma got an 82.
Nah.
And IGN gave it a 9.2.
That's amazing. Wait, what did Virtue's Last Reward get? That has to be an easy 9 across the board. That is a marvelous visual novel and puzzle game. But I looked up all the guides for the puzzles.
So I was looking on OpenCritic. OpenCritic didn't exist when I'm switching over to Metacritic. Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, 84 on the Vita on Metacritic. But Metacritic is usually more harsh than...
That's so annoying.
So let's see.
84.
Zero Time.
84 is great, though. If I had an 84 on my game, I'd be pretty proud. So...
let's see. Zero Time Dilemma on Vita got an 83. So it only scored 1 point less.
I feel like this is a situation where you just feel like you've missed something.
We must have, dude. I mean...
I just remember the ending was a cliffhanger, right? Did you get to that same ending? And it was...
I never even finished it, dude.
Oh,
because I bought it on Vita and I was so disgusted by the graphics and the character animation that I was like, fuck this.
Oh man, I played it and finished it. I love Zero Escape. Like I liked it enough to finish it, but Time Dilemma just on a story front, they're like, this is it, the final one, and then they cliffhung it, and I was like, why? Like what happened?
Well, this is something that I said, I think on some show where either this one or Sacred, where it feels like the Japanese, and I mean, maybe it's not Japanese, it's just different in a way. They don't end things. Like One Piece. I mean, there are some. Don't get me wrong. There's some things that have ended. One Piece doesn't end. Kingdom Hearts. They haven't ended. I mean, we're talking about the Evangelion movie that's out today. Evangelion is 26 years old. I'm pretty sure.
Like the 90s when that started. So that's kind of funny.
It's like Americans do the exact same thing. I mean, look how many fucking Marvel movies there are.
Yes.
And they don't stop. They will never
true.
stop pumping them out unless they stop making money. So
that will never happen. There's few guarantees in life. That's one. Marvel movies will always make money.
The guarantee is Marvel and Call of Duty maybe always make money.
I don't know. I think COD could. I feel like COD. I don't want it to, but I'm saying I feel like COD could one day fade a little bit. Not out of relevancy, but I don't think it'll be the juggernaut one day. I think as new things pop up, COD can only try to keep up. I think it's done sort of innovating and leading the charge. If that makes sense.
Oh, Maddie, by the way, okay, sorry, we've gone way off topic here, but I was thinking, you mentioned Balan. That is so. You mentioned all the marketing they did for Balan. Didn't they do like a Balan stream at one point? Even
I don't know, but if they did,
I don't know if they did.
Very
maybe
sad.
It just showed up on other streams. I remember seeing it somewhere at some point, but I've decided that I'm gonna start collecting copies of Balan Wonderworld. So if anyone has extra copies that they no longer want, I have 2 here.
Why?
The 2 are that's my fault. I made
the UK thing, right? Then you
right. They sent me a European copy. I set up the return on Amazon, and then it got buried under some papers on my desk, and I completely forgot about it. And I missed the window to return it. It's like, well, I guess I have 2 copies of Balan now.
Oh no.
And now I've decided I'm just going to try to collect. I want every version of the game. So I need a PS4, Switch, and Xbox still. And then I'll have them. Gotta catch them all.
That makes me mildly uncomfortable, but that's okay. I appreciate you for who you are.
But Maddie, you have intrigued me on Neo the World Ends
With
You.
I would say definitely give it a look.
Very high level.
Yeah, I would say give it a look. You know, the story. If you watch the anime, you'll be familiar enough for the story, but.
Right.
You know, it sort of leans into its mystique a lot. So there's answers you get, but like the idea is, keep playing and you'll unravel everything. So for those who are the first hour of the game is really strong. Like it very much grabs me in a particular way where, it captivates you on an emotional level where I was invested from there. I was like, okay, I got to see what happens.
Right.
But there's also some moments I don't like in storytelling where it's like deliberately confusing because it's like you'll get this later. It's like I'm probably not going to remember this in 40 hours when I'm done with the game. So that's the slight trade-off there that I'm not a crazy fan of. Not perfect game, but really good. Really liking it. Anyway, besides that, just before we get into the news, a little housekeeping. If you enjoy this show, you want to support it. I mean, according to my recording timing here, you're about 28 minutes deep into this show. Maybe you want to support us. Patreon.com/MrMattyPlays, where you can get early access to this show, Patreon Q&A, early access to all of our Patron projects that we release. We just did the Life and Death of Dead Space. It's closing in on 20,000 views. Thank you all so much for supporting that. Yeah, just, it's a passion project. So for me, that's good. I'm happy with that. I would love to see it do more, of course, but, I'm very happy with that because I know that's not what I'm known for. So we'll continue to work on those projects. And the next one coming up is the Dark Age of Bethesda, which I'm going to start scripting soon. But that's after I finish some stuff with our game. We're moving along, Dustin, and I'm very excited. We've entered a new little step here. And so
hell yeah.
Feeling very accomplished this day. So beyond that, nothing else. Just please consider supporting us. And like I've said, I want to keep reminding the audience we will have some announcements regarding this show in the coming weeks. So please keep an ear out for that. We're just waiting for a couple of other things to come through, and then we'll do that. So with that, let's get into the news. Mr. Dustin Furman, GTA and Red Dead remasters seemingly are on the way. The all but officially confirmed one is a GTA Trilogy remaster, which is also coming to Switch. So there was a reverse engineered source code for Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, and then Take-Two had went after them and took the projects down. Now in June, they are back, and essentially what's happening is you move forward to now after all that happened where people are like, why would they do something like that? Now it looks like we're getting a remaster. So according to Kotaku, after the rumors had swirled, they have went out and have actually confirmed that they're re-releasing these GTA games. And Those games are Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. All of these games are being remastered using Unreal Engine and will be a mix of new and old graphics. One source who claims to have seen a snippet of the game in action says that the visuals heavily reminded them of a modded version of a classic GTA title. The UI for the games are also being updated too, but will retain that same classic style. No details were shared about the gameplay, but Kotaku has been told that these remastered titles are trying to stay true to the PS2 era GTA games as much as possible. Sources confirmed that Rockstar Dundee, a Scottish outpost and one of the newest studios at the company, is leading the charge on developing the remastered games. Another source explained that the studio is heavily involved in not just the remasters, but is even helping Rockstar in developing the next GTA 5 ports that are due out later this year. This lines up with information I heard last year after the studio was purchased by Rockstar Games. Before becoming Rockstar Dundee, that studio was Ruffian Games and had previously worked on Crackdown 2, 3, and assisted with the development on Master Chief Collection. So they were a bit of an Xbox studio there. So let's begin there, Dustin, as I pull up some more information on Red Dead Redemption and its potential remaster. What do you think of these games coming back? Are you excited? It looks like it'll be very soon at that.
Maddie, I played these games somewhat when I was younger at like a friend's house or something. I didn't really get into GTA until GTA 4. So I'm very intrigued by this because I'm curious about how far they're going to go with this remaster. The article mentions it's like a heavily modded version. It reminded them of that. So I brought up on YouTube, I just searched like Vice City realistic graphics or graphics mod. Mm-hmm. And if it looks like this video that I'm seeing right now, then it seems like it'll be pretty good. It has to be. The thing I think is key to remember is that it's running on Switch as well, which of course we have cases of games like Doom Eternal running on Switch. So maybe that's not a good point. But those are few and far in between, right? Those like crazy, really good graphics games that go all the way down to Switch. That's a really difficult thing. So I think it's important to keep our expectations in check. Though I feel like it'd be fair to say that they would be able to make it look as good as GTA 5. I mean, GTA 5 is a 360 and PS3 game. Mm-hmm. It's very old at this point. So
yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people would forget, because at first when you said that, my brain even went like, well, I don't know. But now that you say it, right, you think of all the re-releases that happened. We're talking about really essentially a 2013 game. I think it's fair to ask that a early 2000s game looks like a 2013 game.
I think that maybe the key will be those games. I mean, they have realistic looking cars, but even the characters are kind of more of a caricature style. They look less realistic, which is due to the graphics capabilities they had at the time.
Sure.
So maybe that's kind of what they mean, is that it's like it's not going to be hyper realistic.
I'm fine with that, man. Like, not to interrupt you, just I wanted to just throw out there that as we move into this new generation, I'm expecting more and more of these companies to really go hard on hyperrealism. And the way that photogrammetry is becoming more available to dev studios is I could totally see. I was talking with a couple of devs, and one of them mentioned that indies might start to flip into that because the resources there are free with photogrammetry. And when you look at something like that, it's like we're going to enter an era in the next probably half a decade or so where everything's looking to be hyper realistic, not only because that's attractive for a consumer, for some consumers, but also because it's going to be cheaper at some point in time. And I'm of the mindset that now's the time to start making games that are more retro inspired, if you will, because soon we're going to be entering an area where it's like, I don't know, man. I don't want everything to be hyper realistic. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your train of thought. Just it's something that I'm particularly passionate about, because I'm just like, I think art style defines games way more than people lend it credit to.
Right. I'm with you. These games have kind of sat dormant for a while. We've got mobile ports, which I did play some of the mobile port of GTA 3, and it was impressive. on my iPhone years ago.
Oh shit!
When it came out.
Oh, okay.
And I remember that was so unique at the time because like, whoa, they put GTA on an iPhone. This is how long ago it was.
Right.
I'm wondering. Wait, I gotta see GTA iPhone release date.
I'm actually very curious about this. I'm gonna say like
was it 2015? Okay.
Wow, more recent than I thought.
That is more recent than I thought. Wait, no.
Oh no.
Google failed me.
Here we go. This happened last week.
iPhone, dude. Okay, I gotta tell you exactly what I'm seeing. I put GTA iPhone release date in real big. It says December 17th, 2015, and then it says Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories was released on iPhone. So it just assumed I meant Liberty City Stories.
Nope.
GTA 3 iPhone release date 2011.
Interesting.
So
that's more what I was
10
expecting.
years ago, almost 10 years ago this December.
So you and I are around the same age. So you were like a junior in high school firing up GTA on the phone?
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was a time where it was like, whoa, they put a console, even if it was PS2, which was, dated, but still, it's like we're getting actual games on phones, and then you play it with a touchscreen, and you're like, this sucks. Why would I do this?
Yeah, right. And that was during that era where like Nintendo was struggling, so people were like, oh, you're gonna move over to phones, right? And people were really worried about the mobile market overtaking the console market, which I remember I never ever fucking bought into that idea. I'm like, people have standards, right? Like that's a realistic expectation. People have standards. Not everyone's gonna go to the phone because it's convenient, but there were a lot of folks who were convinced that mobile gaming and the amount of money that you could make off of it was going to just overtake console gaming entirely because it was cheaper to do as well.
Right. So now that I'm looking here, actually, that was a celebration of the 10th anniversary of GTA 3. So in 10 years, we went from it being on PS2 to being on your phone. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Thinking about that.
And then would that put it then another 10 years later, wouldn't that just in 2021? So would it be a 20th anniversary?
That is a very good point.
Am I mathing properly? Because you said 2011, right?
I'm going to search Grand Theft Auto 3 release date was October 22nd, 2001.
Ah. Sounds like October 22nd is the release date. That's my guess. I'm putting it out there.
That could be possible. Let's see. October 22nd is a Friday.
Oh, no, this is happening, man. This is happening. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I'm feeling good about this one.
That seems very possible.
Yeah, the dots have officially connected. Is this something you plan on picking up and playing, or is it just going to sort of sit to the wayside?
I think I'll probably play it. I don't know if I'm not going to commit to playing all three of them.
Yeah.
Especially I don't know. It depends on the level of remaster. I'm very interested in Vice City and San Andreas because Vice City, I love the 80s aesthetic and the fact it takes place in the 80s is very cool to me. And then San Andreas, everyone loves that game. I've never touched
San Andreas.
it.
Really, I love
never
San
played
Andreas, it. Man. It's a good game. Now, there's some hilarious moments in that game, but it's just there's some systems that are hilarious. Like the dialogue will change if CJ is overweight. So if you go to you go out to eat and stuff, like it's amazing, man. There's just such little details in that game. I think that's where a true appreciation for Rockstar built up. I have a weird memory with San Andreas because we were at Sam's Club, right? And every summer, my grandma, my mom, myself, and my older brother would go to, I almost called my little brother, would go to Sam's Club, and we do like a summer vacation shopping trip. So we get all manner of snacks and drinks and everything. And Sam's Club, believe it or not, holds the occasional video game. And so I remember my brother grabbing GTA, and my mom was like, no, it's rated M, and that's GTA. You're not playing that. So my brother being my brother, he just kept sneaking into the cart. No. And then eventually my mom's willpower broke. She bought the game. And he didn't really play it much, and I ended up playing it as a kid. And there's some fucked up shit in that game. So,
dude, I was not allowed to play GTA when I was a kid. I one time played it at a friend's house, like on secret. And then
that was probably one of the biggest rushes of your life.
Oh, it was very exciting. But I understood why. Like, I was a kid, and there's like a lot of sexuality and stuff in that game. Like my parents didn't have a problem, which it's funny now thinking back. It's like, oh, you don't have any problem with someone committing murder in the streets, but you'd have a problem with, a titty or something. Yeah. But I get it. I understand. So
yeah, whenever my parents watch The Sopranos, they make me sit in my room, so I get it.
Oh man,
right?
It's so funny you mention that. I'm watching Sopranos right now, Matty.
Oh,
it's very good.
Yes,
it's so good. But I remember when I got GTA 4. I was in 11th or 12th grade, and it was one of those things where a new GTA game hadn't been out in a while, so we never had the conversation, can I play GTA now? I wasn't interested in it when it came out in like 2007, I think. So I remember I got my wisdom teeth out, and I was wandering around Target. I had gotten my wisdom teeth out within the hour, so I was like drugged up. Still, we were getting the prescription for painkillers for me, and I was wandering around. I remember standing in the video game section at Target and like blankly staring at this $20 copy of GTA 4, and I was like, I should buy that. I should play it. I've never played it. I should buy it. So I just bought it, and I didn't ask my parents. They're like, well, you didn't really talk to us if you could play that. I was like, what's...
Okay. I got my teeth pulled out. Come on.
Yeah. And then it was fine.
Did you play and finish it? Because I was never crazy about GTA 4.
Never finished it.
Yeah, same. When I played it...
But I liked what I played.
My friend... See, the thing is, my friend was like, really big on GTA 4. And, I got decent ways through. And I was much younger. Maybe I'd appreciate it more now. But when I played it back then, I was like, this is not enjoyable to me.
It's sluggish.
It is.
But I guess
I know it's
that's Rockstar.
Well, the thing is, I know it's got a slow start for sure, and I'm sure that it does pick up. I don't doubt that. Enough people love this game unapologetically. If they did a remaster or re-release of that, I'd be all over it, because it's one I've sort of slept on, and now that they're doing a trilogy of 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, I feel like they may go back to 4. I think it would make sense. But this is one that I did miss out on, and I was like, all right. That's the thing is, actually, I've missed out on a lot of GTA games. I never played Vice City. I never played GTA 3. I have Chinatown Wars on, I want to say, my PSP. I think it came out for that. I know it came out for DS. But there's a lot of GTA games I haven't played because Rockstar was hit or miss for me. And I, of course, have the bad, very no good, horrible, bad luck of being a fan of Rockstar's games, Bully and Max Payne, which they have left dead. Now, with seeing this, a Max Payne trilogy, Dustin, I got to go there. A Max Payne trilogy. Max Payne 3 did not deserve the death it received. It was fucking incredible. From a story standpoint, from a replayability standpoint, and multiplayer was excellent. It was one of those true surprises, kind of like Mass Effect 3, right? The level of passion there from me when it comes to Mass Effect 3 and Max Payne 3 multiplayer. Something with the 3s. But my word, they did the bullet time right. They added great progression systems in there. It still felt like a Rockstar game. I mean, job well done. So if they could bring those back, I'd be happy. I was really crossing my fingers they bring back Bully again, although I get why they haven't, because they've already done remasters and ports and all that stuff. But this seems like a logical choice financially. It's kind of interesting that they're doing it the same fall that they're re-releasing GTA 5 again. But I guess they realized finally it's time to do something at least a little different with GTA.
Right.
With that, the report from Kotaku also mentioned that they plan to re-release Red Dead Redemption. This was one that's been long requested by fans. Even before I think Red Dead Redemption 2 was revealed, a lot of people expected a remake of Red Dead Redemption. And I found this rumor from Kotaku to be particularly interesting surrounding Red Dead 1 because in back compat on Xbox, it looks fantastic. And I feel like this is a game that if you gave FPS boost to, I don't know if it's requiring a full remaster or remake. But this is one of the timeless gems that lots of people love. Some of the best of all time. What do you feel about Red Dead 1 also being on the table to come back?
So it's not like Rockstar to give us a good deal on their re-releases or, porting. I remember when GTA 5 came to PS4, I was like, fuck you guys. I'm buying it again.
Oh,
and I was
really?
mad about it.
Never bought it again. That's so...
I traded my old copy in.
I bought it on PC.
Oh, yeah, right. So part of my theory was maybe this is a way they can port Red Dead Redemption 2 to PS5. They can include a remake / remaster, whatever you want to call it, of Red Dead Redemption in it. And I don't know. They could sell them separately. Like, they don't need to bundle it, I feel like. So what I was thinking, and I mentioned...
I have a Galaxy Rain theory. I just got to throw out there. It's a fan theory I've heard for a while. And this does not spoil anything because obviously Red Dead Redemption 2, for those who aren't aware, is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1.
Right.
What if they made it where once you beat Red Dead 2, you load into the remaster of Red Dead 1?
Oh.
Right.
Just a really... Dude, that... People already... I jokingly call Red Dead Redemption, it's the War and Peace of video games just because it's so fucking long.
It is.
Imagine that. If you had both of those games back to back.
Yeah, you had to go through like 70 hours.
Just one solid game.
Yeah, wow. Red Dead 2 was stupid fucking long. I loved Red Dead 2. One of my favorite games the year it came out, but I will never replay Red Dead Redemption 2 ever in my lifetime.
I feel like I want to because I started to get antsy with the story and just skipped a bunch of stuff so I could beat the story mode.
Oh, really? See, I did it all, but I get how you would feel antsy because there's points where it's just really picking up. Like by the end, right, it's at such a rip-roaring pace, but it takes some time to get there. And I think the only thing I'd appreciate on a replay thing is, once again, like you always do with any replay, is the narrative cues, the foreshadowing that maybe you missed out on. I don't want to specify what, but there's certain scenes that I didn't really think much on, like a doctor scene, and then you beat the game, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what happened here. So stuff like that missed me the first time around and came back to surprise me. And I don't want, seeing the clear foreshadowing and how it's written would be quite interesting. But this is also sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say real quick, Matty, the reason why I feel like that it could be a remake of some remaster. Mm-hmm. The GTA 1 map is already mostly in Red Dead Redemption 2. Not GTA. What did I say? Red Dead 1 map is in
I knew what you
Red Dead. Wow, crossover there. That would be the crossover, Matty.
You just load in as much guys with guns and cars,
dude, and they're in like a Ferrari and they just blaze through like some horses. The horses go flying. No, but the Red Dead 1 map is mostly in, maybe entirely. Someone will have to correct me on that.
I think mostly, not entirely.
Mostly, but not entirely, is already in there. They could just use the Red Dead 2 engine, and you already have all the dialogue recorded. Mm-hmm. Just use the same voice acting because it was great in the original.
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying it's an easy task, but
probably easier.
A lot of easier because a lot of stuff is already done.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This is dependent on if the GTA Trilogy Remaster does well. So that'll be the telling point for them. And I have no doubt this will do great, especially because they're bringing these games to Switch. So GTA on Switch, I think, is a pretty exciting premise in its own right. I do hope they do a physical release. I really do, but I don't trust they will. But I think that'd be such a nice surprise. So we'll see. But despite all that, that's the latest on the GTA and Rockstar in general remaster rumors. We'll track it closely as it continues to develop. Let's get into our second bit of big news for the week. That being Gamescom. We have a showcase coming from Xbox, which has updates on their latest first-party titles. No new announcements, just updates. And they said stuff from their third-party partners. So it's going to be a showcase. We're going to see stuff, but it's about things we know that exist. With that, Dustin, do you have a list of games that you would want to see updates on? They specified 2021. Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter and specified that it's within the 2021 window. So are there any things you're hoping to see at this Xbox show?
I would like to see campaign from Halo Infinite because all we've gotten since that mixed reaction campaign reveal, all the however many months ago that was, or maybe years at this point.
Yeah, it was I think exactly a year ago. It was August.
Yeah. Damn. So we've seen some snippets of like cutscenes, like we had that scene with the new Cortana girl or whatever. So, but I feel like it's time to show that off. And also, Maddie, it's time for a release date. And
I agree.
I think that the speculation that they're waiting to see what Call of Duty's release date is most likely true. That makes sense to me, is that they're like, we don't want to launch this on the same day as Call of Duty. Because, though, I mean, they would. Part of me is like, dude, if they release on the same day as Call of Duty, their multiplayer is free.
Yeah.
Like, free speaks above all. But I mean, it is Call of Duty, which is huge.
I'm of the mindset that with, I don't want to buy too hard into the rumors, but we're hearing some not good things about COD this year. And given how long they are taking and what's happening internally at Activision, I'm wondering if this is going to be sort of a scratch year for them, where I'm like, hey, I was preaching it on Duke. I was like, dude, just fucking drop it when you want. You'll be fine. But maybe that's not the most business friendly approach. Just Phil, really putting it out on the table, going, all right, here's what we're doing, boys. Here's what we're doing. And so, I get it. But continue. You were talking about the release date and how it's time.
Yeah, it's time to put out the release date. I was talking about this actually with, which I believe he said that you've been on his show, maybe not Colt Eastwood.
Yes, I have been on his show.
XNC. I was on his show a few days ago, and we were talking about this. And it's funny, dude, doing live shows, different vibe, because you can see the chat react to what you say.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I was like, they need to put out a release date. Like, it's time. If they don't put out a release date pretty soon, I'm questioning on if it's gonna come out this year. Because I don't care if you're Halo. Like, you need to have a marketing push, no matter what.
Yeah.
They're like, they could release it next week and it would be fine. Like, bro, sure, they would still be successful, but it's Microsoft. They're gonna put tons of money into marketing. They already have put tons of money into marketing this game. Why would they just, pop it out? They need to have a plan. And I think that it seems like Call of Duty is going to get announced very soon. We've already seen the leaks for Vanguard. The images are out. So the question is, will they wait till Gamescom to announce the release date? Or will they wait, see the Call of Duty release date, and then maybe in, I don't know, less than a week, just drop it on Twitter with a blog post like, Halo Infinite will launch November, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that's a number one pressing concern, is they need to hit the release date sooner rather than later, because Gamescom seems like the best opportunity. I do think Halo's big enough where they said, hey, in September we're going to have a Halo event and we're going to announce a release date then. They'd be fine. But I still think that's cutting it a little close, and it, to me, speaks of a little uncertainty of like, are we there yet? I don't know. That wouldn't convince me strongly of the product. It feels fun. When I played it, it was very fun, but there's obviously a lot more it needs to shake out beyond one technical test of 3 maps.
Maddie, one other thing, too, a game that I think we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Redfall.
I hope so.
Because they said next summer, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we need, especially with a new IP, I feel like they need to hit the ground running with gameplay, right?
Yeah, especially with Arcane. Arcane really has struggled to get sales for their games. Even Deathloop, which I gotta say, they've marketed the fuck out of Deathloop. It's just not. Yeah. It's not capturing an audience. It's not like it's. I'll be very curious to see the sales numbers for that, just because I don't gauge it specifically off of this. But when you look at small numbers like trailer views, you're like, there's not pop to this when it drops information. I think it's because they strung it out way too long. I think the delay really hurt them. If they released in May, I believe they would have been in a better spot. But obviously, it's more important that they get a quality product out. Yeah, I'd love to see Redfall. Then again, they said 2021 games, so I don't know. But with that,
I didn't know that.
No, it's fine because with that, there is QuakeCon this same month. Like Xbox is kind of going hard this month when you really look at the broad picture because you've got QuakeCon, you've got this Gamescom show, and then you've got ID at Xbox, which already came and went. What's interesting about QuakeCon is that a game for it already leaked. It's apparently like a Quake remaster or remake, and I'm sitting there just looking at that like, really?
That would be big, Matty.
It would be, but I Dustin, I fold my hands a little bit. I look at the sky. I pray a little bit. I'm like, why? Why Quake? Out of everything you own, Bethesda, why? No one answers.
Quake? I feel like Quake, though, I don't know.
I am not.
Quake 2
is
so beloved. Like, as far as an arena shooter, there's people thinking about arena shooters right now because of Halo.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, that would be interesting. Well, they've already kind of they did that Quake
Champions.
Quake Champions, but then recently they've done the Quake 2 RTX, which is like a ray traced version of Quake 2. Have you seen this at all?
I have not.
You can download it for free, just like the shareware version of it on Steam. It's very cool, but it's an interesting idea bringing back Quake. Is Quake Arena? This is a game that in any event, they've got Quake Arena set up at the Bethesda event. I'm like, who plays this?
I don't know.
Do people play? I don't know.
I don't want to be disrespectful in the sense not that you are. I'm just saying in general.
Disrespect.
Like of course I'm just ribbing them because it feels like they'll pick every IP beneath the Bethesda umbrella before they do Fallout Remaster. But my point being is, when Quake Champions came and went, I remember playing it. I remember at Bethesda's showcases, they would show like BJ Blazkowicz joins the roster, and it was like, oh shit, this is cool. But it never caught on. It just, Bethesda seems to really struggle to accept that they're primarily viewed as a single player studio. It's why their single player games do very well and their multiplayer games won. I've never seen them do a multiplayer game that has done really well. Even in games that are super successful, like Doom 2016. Which is like this real big surprise, had a great multiplayer, and it did shit. Prey, they tried to do a multiplayer, and it was so bad that they stopped the Typhon Hunter development. Like, they consistently fail at multiplayer, and I give them credit for trying, but they need to accept that they're a single-player studio. With that said, Quake coming back is not a bad thing, but it's just something that's kind of interesting to see if rolled out of there, and I wonder if there will be more on the way in the terms of other announcements. Like, maybe we'll see more, or hear more, rather, about Redfall at this digitized event. So that will be very interesting to see. Beyond that, on the Xbox front, for those who are expecting Hellblade, Fable, those types of games, The Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, you're not going to hear anything about it. I do want to say, I want to repeat it here as well, it's a bookmark moment.
Bookmark it.
We're going to see Avowed at the Game Awards. I feel very confident about that. When they showed off The Outer Worlds 2 at E3, the Xbox Wire post said that we will see Avowed very soon. Now, given the game is, from what we've heard and what I've heard, it's aiming for a 2023 window. It's like, okay. Well, soon for them would probably be, sometime within the next half year. Given that it would not fit the 2021 structure of Gamescom, and they're saying we're going to see it soon, that puts us right in the Game Awards, where Obsidian revealed The Outer Worlds, the first one, back in 2018, I want to say. So, Dustin, I'm just saying, bookmark this moment to the listeners. I know I'm right on this one. I feel very, very confident in that. So we'll see. But I just wanted to throw that out there for those looking for some Avowed.
Andy, I want to run something by you while we're talking about Xbox and Bethesda. Because I saw this take the other day. I don't remember who said it. I think I saw it on TikTok.
Wow.
TikTok, TikTok has some good stuff.
I refuse to download TikTok. Fuck that up.
You're better off.
Yeah.
Dude, you waste so much time
Exactly.
on TikTok. The algorithm is too good. So Xbox owns Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
Bethesda right now is working on Starfield, and it won't be out until next year.
Yeah.
The end of next year. They've already announced their following game, The Elder Scrolls 6, and that won't be out until... Have they even really... I'm guessing they're in light pre-production.
Yeah, they're in pre-production.
Some kind. So that game is probably not coming. Let's just be generous and say it's 4 years after 2022. Do you think that's fair? 4 years?
I almost think that's generous. I think
that's okay. Good.
Yeah.
I'll be generous. Let's say 4 years. So that will be 2028.
Yeah, sure. 2028, 2027, I think is when we'll see Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe a little sooner than that, depending on how streamlined their process is and what kind of new things they're doing with this new creation engine and what Starfield establishes. But I'm thinking like 2026, personally, 27.
So Xbox is thinking, man, one of the most valuable IP we just bought is Fallout. And the studio that makes it can't possibly make one until 2030 something. Mm-hmm. Do you think Xbox is going to give Fallout to either another studio or make a Fallout studio, which would be completely in line with the Xbox way of doing things, like Vault Boy Studios, or like
the Vault
301? I don't know, like some studio, and they make Fallout games.
That's the thing, is there's something in the air, because what's hilarious about you talking about this is I tweeted about it and I made a video. Not that I've caused this, by the way, but I've seen some of the community talk about it. Then there was the rumors of Bethesda opening up a remake or remaster studio that came from my friend Skolzy, who has been right about stuff in the past related to Bethesda. And then we talked about this on Defining Duke a lot separately, where before all of this, me and Cog were just talking, and I was saying how, like, dude, just set up a studio, name it Vault. Like, you have 343, you have the Coalition, you have Vault. Vault handles the Fallout license. I agree with you. I think it can't be laid dormant for that long, because exactly the way you're speaking is my point, is that to people, the Fallout license isn't alive just because 76 is getting updates. It can be alive technically, but it feels dead for a lot of people.
It's not alive to the general public.
It's not. It's like, if they think it's as relevant as when it was with Fallout 4, they're kidding themselves. It's not. It won't be until they do single player
that's
again.
No diss against Fallout 76.
No,
it has
improved.
Its fans. I'm sure it makes money, and I'm sure it's fine now. But it's not like kids at the lunch table are abuzz about the new Fallout game, or they're playing the new Fallout game, or whatever. Yeah. Like, in fact, how many years has it been since Fallout 76?
It has been 3 years.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, 3 years in game time is a long time. So
yeah,
like half a generation.
I don't know how much of a stranglehold Xbox has on Bethesda where they could choke out the Fallout IP from them. I don't know if, because Xbox owns Bethesda, if technically they own Fallout, where they could say like, hey, let's bring this over to someone else. I don't know how much creative control they truly do have on it. So with that in mind, it's like, my answer is sort of up in the air. But
Wasteland team?
That was where I was going to go is I don't know where this rumor originated from. I haven't personally heard anything. But I keep seeing online, just posted again and again. I think one podcast mentioned it, which is that apparently the Wasteland team is working on a new isometric Fallout game. Once again, I got to emphasize for the audience and anyone who wants to repost this, I have not personally heard this. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out because I would love to report that and be like, yo, new Fallout game is coming. And, you got the perfect team for it. But that's only something I've heard pop up every now and again, and nothing really verifiable. And the sources from the podcast are not ones that like I've seen consistently putting out inside info, where it's honestly probably the feeling people got from me when I was first talking about KOTOR. They were probably like, well, it's just some YouTube guy. He doesn't really have much of a backdrop. in reporting. So we'll see if he's right. So I think it's one of those situations. Beyond that, though, I hope they do it. I hope they do something with it, right? That's just the fingers crossed moment.
That's the thing. Bethesda needs to figure out how to make games quicker.
Yeah.
I'm like very convinced of that. They just take too fucking long. Especially compared to their competition. I'm not saying Witcher 3. I don't think Witcher 3 is as good as like Skyrim or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about the amount of content, right? And I don't know. It just seems like other teams are able to make games a lot quicker.
Well, yeah, and you touched on something fantastic last week, which was we were looking at the sales of the series, and they sold extremely well, but in comparison to the dev time they take, they weren't doing Rockstar numbers where they should be taking these 4 or 5 year windows, upwards of 6, or in the case of Elder Scrolls 6, we're looking at a decade plus for people to wait. And of course, it'll look like a monumental step forward compared to a 2011 game, but more to our point is that they have earned their reputation. But they have to earn trust back now, and it's kind of a weird mix because people want stuff from them, but they want to take their time to do it right. So something like Starfield, I want them to take all the time in the world. Something like a new Elder Scrolls should have already been done, as far as I'm concerned. I get the idea. Like, I really respected them saying, and I was actually a defender of it when Pete Hines was like, yeah, Bethesda Game Studio is not our vending machine where we just press a button and pop out a Fallout, pop out an Elder Scrolls. I was like, I respect that. Let them lead themselves creatively. But now that they're working on Starfield, I've seen multiple interviews from Bethesda employees going, yeah, we were a little tired of Fallout. I'm like, so they were not the Fallout vending machine, but they worked on 2 Fallout straight, got burnt out, made a fucking crap one that practically tarnished the series permanently. And you're telling me that you just don't press the buttons on them? So what is the wait for Elder Scrolls 6 other than all I can think of is what Todd said was true. Is that whatever they wanted to do with ES6, whether it's good or bad, we don't know. Whatever they wanted to do with ES6, though, they couldn't do. And so he had to hold it off until probably 15 years later, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. I don't know. When do you think we're going to see Starfield? When are we going to see gameplay? When are we going to know what Starfield actually fucking is?
I am leaning towards... Okay, so I don't mean to keep going on spiels here, but I'm of the mindset that with how Todd Howard likes to do a full reveal for his game, that would not work at an Xbox showcase. It would work at a Bethesda showcase, but not work at a Xbox showcase. I think Starfield is going to get its own show, like a stream or something. I'm very strong on that. Because I view it as this coming E3 for Xbox next year. This year was going to be huge for them because it was sort of their first step after making a lot of aggressive moves and solidifying themselves, I think, as a true competitor this generation. Next year is where they show the goods of all their investments, right? That's where the 2018 studios they bought, the 2019 studios they bought. Here's what we're working on. Here's what those games look like. I'm talking, once again, go down the list. Fable, Avowed, Everwild, Perfect Dark. Like, these are the times you get updates on all that they have been working on that you've set up for years. And I think you don't want to pull any attention from that. Not that Starfield would leech from it, but Starfield would command a ton of attention. And unless Xbox has gotten that much control where they're going to wrangle Todd and be like, you got 10 minutes tops. You do not have your half hour on stage, which I don't think Todd wants. I don't think he's going to do that. So a long-winded response to your question is, I think they're going to do a separate showcase for Starfield. That's part of the reason why they probably announced it early. It's because the marketing is going to be handled differently. Usually it was like, here's E3. I mean, we already got the release date, right? Like, when you look at how they've done it, typically it's E3 reveal. You'll get it in 5 months. We already know it's coming out in November next year. So it's like, now that pop is gone. So they can talk about it when they want. They can really market it. And they're going to have to market differently. It's a new IP. They got to really push, and they can't lean into it's Fallout, it's Elder Scrolls, it'll sell. They can't do that. This is the second time my Apple Watch has talked to me.
Siri does not agree.
Yeah,
Siri's out.
I don't get it. Sorry though, that was a very long-winded answer to what you were asking, but Yeah, I think it'll be early next year, like in the spring. I think they're gonna do it separately.
I think Todd Howard's the type of guy that like he'll like go to the bathroom, in a public bathroom or whatever, and then he's like washing his hands. He looks up in the mirror and he's like, "I'm fucking Todd Howard."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm a good
looking
man. Let's do this."
And he's like, fuck you, Phil Spencer. I will take as long as I need, and I will use the F word on stage."
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of these developers that I don't want to say are less proven, but like Compulsion Games is one that I think of that has a lot of potential, and they have gone radio silent as they work on their new game, where it feels giving them time and not saying like, "Hey, get this shit out immediately." Like, we don't know if you're going to drop another stinker like We Happy Few, where it's like this really raw potential that was not realized. But if he's giving them time, he's going to give Todd time. And I think if he's going to respect how they handle things, then I feel like Todd could muscle in his big reveal. I just feel like more so, I don't know if the Xbox Bethesda gameplay showcase is going to be this every year thing. I think it was this year specifically to show that they are one. And letting Bethesda start off the show. Todd Howard was the first guy on stage, right? So letting them lead off, it showed like companionship. We're partners. I think from there, they're going to do what they're doing here. Like, Bethesda will be at Gamescom to some extent, but their main show will be at QuakeCon. And Gamescom is not going to interfere with QuakeCon. So I think Bethesda's going to operate with their own plans, and Starfield will show up when it wants to, whether it's before or after Xbox's E3. I just think they'll have to have a trailer ready for E3, for sure.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Man. Todd Howard, man.
I know.
What a guy.
Who's the even crazier guy is Hassan Karaman, or whatever the hell his name is. Dustin.
Oh, shit.
This is all you. What the fuck is going on with Blue Box, man?
Matty, this is all that remains of the stream here, these bad boys.
Yeah, how long did that take you to set up your glasses? You had a hat. You had armor, even. Tinfoil armor.
Not very long. In fact, I had the idea to do that stream, which for the audience has no clue. I did a stream that was all in tinfoil, just because this tinfoil joke kept going and going. It's over now. That's what some people were like, "Are you going to wear the tinfoil again?" I'm like, no. The joke has reached its peak. So, we're done with that. But no, I was like, "Holly, I need you to help me out before my stream starts." Yeah. She's like, "What?" Like, I need you to cover me up in this tinfoil. By the way, if you ever find yourself, Matty, maybe the channel doesn't work out, and you're homeless, tinfoil, very warm.
Oh, really?
Very, very warm. Because, so it like covered this area pretty well, and then I had like the sleeves. The sleeves fell off during stream. But once the stream was over, I took it off, and I'm like, my chest and belly area are just slightly damp right now.
Huh.
From sweat.
I wonder if it's like okay, interesting.
It's reflective. It reflects the heat right back.
That makes sense.
So anyway, let's talk about Blue Box.
Because, this is something that's continued to evolve. I always defer to Dustin for this because I never had interest in this the second it started to get weird and wild. I'll admit, I think if it were more relevant to the channel, I would have taken the deep dive like I have historically on many things. But for this, it was just like, this looks like a train wreck from the start.
Matty, the king of speculation, MrMattyPlays, was not into the Blue Box conspiracy.
Okay, I gotta sound like an asshole now. If I liked Kojima enough, I probably would, but I'm not.
Okay.
I like one of his games a lot, and that's Metal Gear Solid 2. The rest, I'm like, these are good games, but I'm not. I wish I loved him as much as other people do. I think it's exciting. For example, he's going to work with Xbox, it seems. But, like, to me, that's where the interest dies. Like, it's like, all right, cool. Sure. Like, let's see what he does. Beyond that, though, this is all you. You're gonna catch me up. I'm going to react. It's going to be like a little reaction stream. So let's do this.
So I'll try to keep this brief because I know that last time I went long talking about Blue Box. But their app... Their real-time trailers app got delayed until, what day was that? Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
And so Yeah, it was Tuesday. So everyone was ready for this app to come out. They put out a time. I believe it was 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone was ready. And then they were like, oh, yeah, the app's going to have an update. And just beforehand, they put out a little teaser video, and it said, "Are you ready?" ? And then the app didn't happen. So it was very confusing because they were tweeting as if they were ready to go. And then they were like, "Hey, sorry, I can't remember what exactly. I think they said they were having an engine problem."
Yeah, which made no sense. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all.
Like, that's not how it works. I remember reading it and going like, that's not, no. Sorry, go on.
Well, what doesn't make sense to me is that I talked to Barry on my stream. Barry was in the chat. Barry is the lead developer. I mean, not sole developer, because he has people helping him out, of Lilymo Games, which is our partial development arm of Last Stand Media. Not really. It's Colin owns part of it, and we're separate, but we work together. You know how it is. So he told me that patches can be like scheduled for a certain time, and they can make it very specific that at this time the patch will go out. So you're telling me that at 2:47 p.m. you're putting out a tweet with a little teaser that says, "Are you ready?" And then at 3 p.m. you decide to pull it, or that it's not ready? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Like, as you break that down, the timestamps alone, like, what the fuck happened in the last 20 minutes with your engine? Your engine?
Right.
Like, that's not how it works. That doesn't make sense.
So they delayed, and then the problem that for me right now is that part of this mystery is that just earlier today they went and deleted all of the tweets explaining and apologizing for something not happening. So they did put out multiple tweets over the last few days that were like, "We're still working on it." The second time, one of the times though, they said they had a graphical issue. Now, bear in mind, everybody, this is not a demo. This is a trailer app that plays the trailer running in real time on the PS5.
I don't even get that. What the fuck is the point of that? It's a trailer app. Why don't they just release a video on YouTube? I'm so confused.
So their reasoning is that they're like, we want people to be able to see it as if it was the real game running on PS5. If you put it on YouTube, to be fair, there would be like compression, and it wouldn't be the exact quality.
Okay.
So while I think it's dumb, I at least understand somewhat the logic behind it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just so, in the scheme of things, minimal, but continue.
There's a bunch of other weird shit going on too, Maddie, in that Shuhei Yoshida, who's the head, he is the head of Indies now, but he used to be head of Worldwide Studios at Sony, was tweeting along with everybody else, waiting for it to happen. Like waiting for the patch to go out. So I'm like, Shu, what do you know? What's going on, Shu? Why aren't you saying anything? So today, Blue Box updated their website, and there's now a green banner at the top that says the issue has been resolved. The patch will be live in a few hours. And they then deleted all the tweets apologizing for the app not working right. So in the meantime, a lot of people thought it was going to come out yesterday, because yesterday was the 7th anniversary of PT coming out.
Right.
Nothing happened.
That. Yeah.
Nothing happened yesterday. But there's still some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Game Awards Twitter account put out a thing that was like, happy 7th anniversary to PT. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, the Game Awards Twitter account, which let me look real quick.
I always think of that Jeff Keighley video at the start of all this that I think gets lost in it all, where like Jeff clearly had like a shit-eating grin, like he knew something.
Yeah.
That's the one that always stood out to me. Is like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't understand. It creates a conversation, right? They have succeeded in that. They have won on that front. But the question is, after all the negative attention, will the turnover of, like, if this is what people wanted, let's say it's Kojima, Silent Hill with Konami teaming up again. Let's just say hypothetically that's it. Will that be enough to make people go like, oh my God, that was ridiculous, but here we are now?
They need, if this is some kind of ARG, alternate reality game, they need to do something to justify why they've yanked people around this week specifically. They've already yanked people around by delaying it and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I made a joke in my Discord where I said the only way this is justified, because there's some people that are thinking this involves other Konami IP as well, because they put out that teaser image that had a guy in an eye patch that looked like Snake. And so some people thought maybe this rumor about the Blue Point Metal Gear Solid remake is part of that, part of the thought process. I jokingly said, whatever this trailer is, if it ends with Solid Snake saying, "Kept you waiting, huh?" then that would be pretty awesome. Like, hilarious. I would be like, okay, you got us. It was worth it, right? But some people are arguing like, this can't be Kojima because it's too sloppy at this point. And I don't know. It's a bad idea to put Kojima in a box and say this is what he would do and this was what he wouldn't do.
Right.
Because he is always shown to be at least surprising, at the very least. So
yeah. The other thing is you feel like someone would have said something by now. Maybe not PlayStation, but do you feel like Kojima is probably getting, like, he'll tweet about a song, and I guarantee if you go to his latest tweets, all his mentions are probably about Blue Box. You feel like he would have eventually said something, right?
That's kind of what I thought too, is that Kojima views himself as, like, an artist, an auteur. Mm-hmm. He curates the experience. He plasters his name all over everything. Part of me is like, if this, let's say there was a mysterious YouTuber out there or something, and people, for some reason, were connecting the dots saying that it was me. I don't know what this situation would be, and then it ends up being an absolute shit show, and people are starting to think that it's some kind of scam, which I don't really know what the scam would be. I would probably step in and say, this isn't me. Mm-hmm. Because I wouldn't want my name attached to something like that. Unless Kojima just loves chaos and is like, fuck it. Let it,
After what he said at the E3 showcase for Jeff Keighley, his show, after he's like, we don't want to, like, upset people anymore. We want to make something a little more uplifting. And then he commences complete game community's destruction. Like, it's just hilarious to think about. Yeah, I'm looking at his replies to some of his tweets, and people are just like, what is it, Kojima? What's happening? Next, a top secret meeting. And people are just like, oh, my gosh, here we go. Oh, wow, I found a picture of you in the thread.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
which thread is it?
It's my editor, Josh. He used the photo of you that I used last night. I was like, my idea with that tweet was like, I hope people who just don't know Dustin take this photo and fucking turn it into a legendary meme. Because, like, the galaxy in the background, you mid-sentence, like, everything about it, I was like, this is a perfect photo.
Dude, do you know the YouTuber, The Internet Historian?
I have not watched, but I have heard of.
He is awesome. He makes really great, interesting videos. And I'm just hoping that he does a video on the Blue Box conspiracy. And I'd like to be in it. So please, Internet Historian, I'm going to put my stream on YouTube to keep saved for the world. If you'd like to use it, it's there for you.
This thumbnail, off topic, this thumbnail for Sacred Symbols is incredible.
Do you see? Oh, do you like
the one with Colin and the pistol? Where are these photos from?
That's an old picture from him at IGN that's been floating around for a while. Yeah.
That's so great for GTA fucking box art.
Yeah, dude. It's I made that this morning. I thought sometimes, dude, a thumbnail comes together. Other times I have to think about it for like the night before, like I'll be stressing. Since I was at that concert, I wasn't like thinking about it at all. And so I was like this morning, I'm like, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Do a GTA
Sometimes
cover.
the best things come when you just pull them out of your ass a little bit.
I don't like cutting it close though. Well, Maddie, I had to delay on you twice actually because I was cutting it close.
Yeah. But you know what?
Too close.
That's fine, right? At the end of the day, I am Mr. Late. I've been getting better, but even today, I was a little late despite your delay. So,
it's all good.
We're even. So yeah, that's what's kind of going on with Blue Box. It's a funky situation. I feel like it was a good opportunity to put us in a time capsule here. Maybe by the time listeners have this show in their hands and they're hearing us throughout the week, they will have had their answers already. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to hear like me bitching up a storm when we already know what it is. But on the other hand, anything you want to say in this particular time capsule, Dustin, for future listeners who may be sitting there going like, well, now we know what it is.
Here's what I'd like to say, Maddie.
Okay.
Is no matter what happens, whether this is Kojima, whether it is Silent Hill, whether it's something else, or whether Blue Box is a bunch of no names that are completely fumbling in the, at the end here. I think this has been incredibly fun, and I'm glad that we could all be on this ride. And I really do feel like if it's nothing, cool. We got a lot of fun memes. I did a fun stream out of it. It's just like, it's video games.
Yeah.
It's fun to do this stuff. Obviously, there's some people that are more on like harassing and stuff like that. That's no good. We're always going to speak out against that. But I love the subreddit is filled with so many awesome memes. There's a subreddit called the Blue Box Conspiracy that is really good. So just take it easy. Blue Box isn't charging you to see the trailer app. No one's out any money. The only thing we're out of is that we're losing is our time, which a lot of people waste time doing way dumber stuff. So
yeah, like TikTok, right? We just talked about that.
Like TikTok. So, yeah. Take it easy. It's all video games. It's all meant to be fun.
Yes. Well said. That's a time capsule moment right there here on H.A.M Radio.
There you go.
Let's get into our patron questions. Those are also asked in a capsule when you really think about it. Our first question comes from Orange Dog. Maddie and Dustin, I need to apologize. My question from last week's podcast featured a glaring typo. Instead of the ascent, I inscribed amidst my question, the descent. I'm a huge fan of 60 of space games. So even that archaic game from the 90s takes precedent over a brand new game of a different genre, apparently. This brings me to my question. Are either you fans of 60 of, I'm sorry, am I even saying that right? 6DOF. Yeah, 60 of space games like Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, Sub-Level Zero, etc. I'm a longtime listener, and I've only heard sparse mentions of games in the genre, usually panning No Man's Sky. To cap it off, I must express how happy it made me to hear my dog's name aired for all to hear. Keep up the good work. Orange Dog and I wish you the best. Thank you, Orange Dog. Shout out to Orange Dog. All right, so with that, Dustin, I don't know if we really panned No Man's Sky. Karak, when he was on the show, talked very highly of the updates and add-ons that have come to No Man's Sky. So maybe you've joined late. I don't know. No, you said long-time listener, actually. So I'm not quite sure. But for me, I'm not a crazy big fan of it. Dustin, these games reach out to you at all?
They're interesting. Especially Elite Dangerous has always been interesting to me. But I'm like kind of afraid of the learning curve. And dude, here's the thing. Elite Dangerous looks like a boring game, which is fine. Sometimes boring games are good. I like boring games every once in a while, just like I like boring movies. Boring doesn't mean not, well, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean not stimulating. They can be stimulating in their own boring way.
Sure.
Right? So I feel like Elite Dangerous, I'd really want to dedicate myself to learning how to play it. Maybe I should say boring to learn, like a boring learning curve.
It's not deeply engaging off the rip. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky, I've always thought about going back to, but I don't know. I'm not big on survival games anymore. I don't know. I played a lot of like Minecraft and other like when that first boom of survival games hit.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, I don't want to worry about my hunger and my thirst level and if I'm cold or hot. I don't know. It's not
Yeah,
appealing to me anymore.
exactly. Yeah, for me personally, I remember re-downloading No Man's Sky to do a episode with Karak because one of our first collabs together was a video that did really well. It was like a 50-minute dual commentary called "What the Hell," or what was it? I think it was "What the Hell is No Man's Sky" or something along those lines. And him and I just talked about the game for a while, and we were like, "Let's do another one of those." So maybe actually I did post this video now that I think about it. I don't know. I've posted over 3K videos. You can't expect me to remember them all. But
Damn.
I was looking at downloading and playing the No Man's Sky update again. I know I did download and play it again, but I could have sworn I told Karak I was like not really crazy about it, so I didn't know if I wanted to do it. But that was when they added Next, which I think is what popped in the multiplayer and the third-person components, that type of stuff. I think it's impressive what they did with that game, but beyond that, yeah, these space exploration games don't really tickle my fancy. They never really have. I feel like I look for a game that does multiple things rather than one thing really well. So I would rather do a game of Civilization over a space game like you're mentioning here, because Civilization involves a lot of different methods of progression. Whereas No Man's Sky, for example, the only one I can really talk on authoritatively, is much more open and just go here. Okay, now what? Take pictures. Okay, now what? I like a little bit of direction, but and not guidance, but just more so like ushering you down a path, if you will. But then there's those moments in between, like maybe I've taken a military path, maybe I've taken the technology route. To me, like a game doing multiple things calls out to me much more than just a space sim game. And I think if I have an adoration for space and space travel on a more scientific level, but not really on a I want to experience this level. So that's where I sit with it.
Fair.
Cody Richter is our next write-in. Hey, Green Eggs and Ham, with the reports of a new South Park game, it made me wonder what other animated franchises could have successful games. The Simpsons had some popular games in the 90s and early 2000s, but also had some stinkers. Family Guy had also had a couple of video games, but nothing too spectacular. So what do you guys think? Are there any cartoons or animated shows that could come out with new/enjoyable video game adaptations, or do you think the time has passed for that? Yeah, why is South Park the only cartoon, if you will, getting really good video games when there's so many good ones out there?
I think of there's the VR Rick and Morty game that's very good. But I feel like they could do an actual Rick and Morty game to the level of South Park. The game or the series has enough lore or whatever you want to call it. They have enough wide range of stuff that they could reference and call back to, and it would be that could be very interesting. But I'm trying to think of what else.
I got one.
Go for it.
Turn-based SpongeBob RPG.
Whoa.
I would be about that. Now, they're kind of doing something cool in Nickelodeon, right? They're doing that All-Star Brawl game.
Right.
Which is apparently coming out very soon, and I'm very excited for that game. But beyond that, I just feel like SpongeBob is big enough to do something like this. You can make a beginner, a entry-level friendly, turn-based RPG, pardon me, with a little bit of depth. I think there's something there. Because if South Park can do it and succeed, mind you, not that South Park isn't popular, by the way. It's very popular. But more so, if it can command an audience doing something that's sort of against what you'd expect from it, I think. I don't think my first thought is turn-based RPG when I think of that series. I think SpongeBob could do something. SpongeBob is my favorite cartoon of all time. But Family Guy, I remember playing, oh my God, what was the name of the game? I think it was called Back to the Multiverse. And I remember like buying that used from GameStop. That was a wild one. That was a really weird game. This is definitely like a hard 6 out of 10 type game. It's all right. It's very much a movie game, like really shitty animations, fun levels, decent comedy. You play it once, you're done.
Matty, what if I told you there was a game called Family Guy Online?
What?
And it's a Family Guy multiplayer online role-playing game. It is
what?
It never left beta.
Okay.
But I'm just seeing this now because I looked up a list of Family Guy games.
Oh my god.
Back to the Multiverse from 2012. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah,
It has a Metacritic of 42.
Okay.
39 on Xbox 360.
Wow. All right. So my 6 out of 10 was a little generous. Yeah, I mean, that was a dark time, but I guess because games are so much more expensive to make nowadays, we've shifted out of that, and when you commit, you've got to make something really good or seek out a partner who's going to do a good job with the IP. So at least there's that there. There's that to hang your hat on. But I don't know. I think my pick would always be SpongeBob, Cody. All right. Let's get into our next question. Jay Lopez 7331 writes in, all right, Maddie and Dustin, if you could ask any game director one question in this present industry, what would you ask? That's one that gives you pause, right? That's so much opportunity to learn more.
Is Wario circumcised, Mr. Miyamoto? Oh. Let me know.
Wow. That's a great use of your opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the legendary Shigeru Miyamoto. Okay, let me think of a serious one.
I don't know if it has to be serious, right? I mean, that's a great question to really ask. You know, it's just probably put a smile on his face.
I think it would say a lot about his character.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. WarioWare would probably increase in sales or decrease in sales based on that answer. So,
right. I
think I would ask probably. It seems very generic. I could whittle it down a bit, but I think, I think every game starts off differently. And so what I would ask is, what was the starting point for your game? Specifically, I'd be wanting to talk to like a director who had a successful title, mind you. Did it start with storyboarding? Did it start with like a gameplay idea? Did it start with like, what was the one idea that from start to finish was there? Because there's a lot that can be lost in translation when you begin your game versus what it ends up being. When scope, scale, budgets start to come into factors, it's like, all right, I don't think we have enough for this. And they start cutting stuff. So I would ask them, where did it start? And how did you handle it? That's a very simple question, but I think enlightening.
There's people, it's hard to do a single question because there's people like Ken Levine, who I think is a genius, that I would love to just get like a glass of whiskey and pick his brain for like, a few hours or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if we're talking specific, I like if we were talking to the director of Persona 5, I'd be like, clearly there was a moment in someone's life that said like, we need to make a game about rebelling from society, and it's a social commentary on many things, whether it be police, politics, mental health, so many things. It's like clearly something happened, I feel, that directly caused this. I'd love to pick the brain on how you take that moment and then realize it in a video gamey way. BioShock, yeah, like finding out how do you put together the story for BioShock. Was it all one vision and then you just did multiple games, or did it just sort of piece together right? That would definitely be a question I'd ask Ken. For Todd, because he's one of my favorite game directors, of course, probably my favorite. I would likely ask him what matters more when he's making his games. Is one of my favorite things about a BGS open world is, of course, the environmental storytelling, because every location has its own story to tell, sometimes more subtle than others. It's like, when do you decide this should be a story we don't tell but is found and that it can be missed? And how do you feel comfortable deciding when the time is to do that? That would definitely be one. Yeah.
I got one more silly one, but it's serious and silly. whoever directed Mario Golf, why doesn't Yoshi get to wear golf clothes?
Yeah, there is a creative decision.
They just make
him
naked.
Yeah, there's a creative decision.
I wanted to see him in little golf cap and
stuff. I was
gonna
say he needs a visor, right? That makes the most
sense. Something. Give us our boy Yoshi some drip. Something nice.
I agree. I'm trying to think if there's any others that come to mind. I would ask Sucker Punch with Sly Cooper.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Just why?
Yeah, why? Like, why a raccoon? Why this animal-filled world in these real locations? Why? 100%.
I thought you were just gonna say why. Like, why have you done this to me? Where he's left me.
Yeah,
he hasn't come back.
In Egypt. Yep. I would ask that as well, but Sanzaro has the answers to that. Sean Mason's our next write-in. Hey, Hammers. In 2018, while in college, my senior capstone, a project all students must complete to graduate, was a paper and presentation on Final Fantasy and its impact on storytelling in video games. Throughout the semester, I spent hours replaying the games, listening to interviews with members of Square Enix, and reading old articles. When I finished, the paper ended up being 138 pages. And I can say it's the most enjoyable thing I've ever written. So my question, what is your most enjoyable thing you've ever written? Best, Sean M. Fucking 138 pages. Damn.
Wow.
That's wild. Are you much of a writer, Dustin?
Not anymore. I was writing for Handsome Phantom, but I was never... My passion wasn't related to the writing aspect. It was the whole deal, which is funny because we were a written website, but I just liked covering games and checking them out and thinking about them. Putting thought to page or paper or whatever.
Right.
It's always the most difficult. I feel much more comfortable in a podcast like setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I always enjoyed, we used to do Game of the Year wrap-ups. And so you'd be able to pick 5 games. And so you'd have 5 paragraphs or a few paragraphs to really concisely say what that game meant to you. And it sounds easy to be like, oh, pick your 5 games and say why they're your favorite games of the year. But to boil it down in those short little things or short little paragraphs was just cool because it really did force you to think about, okay, like, I love Nier Automata, but why? Mm-hmm. Like, really why? And boil that down to a short thesis, right?
Right.
I enjoyed that. It was a good challenge, and it helped me think about games in a critical and concise way. What about you, though?
It's hard for me to go into detail on it, but I have to say I used to think, some of my video scripts, like the future of Persona was one I was particularly proud of. There is some video work, but since I've started directing this game of ours and writing for it, I distinctly remember I was on a walk, and it was like my brain was just exploding because I was just, for some reason, my brain was just popping off with like ideas for a world. And as I was stitching it together, I was texting my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know why, I just have this great idea for a game. And she's like, you should write it down. You never know. And this was like 2018, 19, right? This is like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So I go home, I write it all down on pen and paper, bullet points, not like fully written out, just like stuff that I wanted to do in the universe. And I just kind of put it away. I'm like, all right, probably will never do this. And I remember one night I was sitting there talking to my buddy, and I was telling him, like, yeah, we came onto the topic, and I was just like, oh yeah, I had this cool idea for a game. And so I started sharing it with them, and they're like, dude, this is fucking legit. Like, why aren't you doing this? Because it's unique. And I was like, I mean, I don't know. It didn't really cross my mind to try to actually pursue it, just money-wise. And I started telling more people about it and talking to devs about it, and they were like, this is something on a universe level that's like really unique. You should definitely do it. And so what I did was we started, the challenge really was of beginning because it's a whole new universe. So you have to explain why things work the way they do. It's not like when it's built in reality, you assume a car works this way, a train works this way. Like, because it's grounded in reality. In this case, because it is this new world, it's like, all right, we got to explain things. And so, once again, I can't specify, but there in that process, there are particular things that myself and the team have written that I'm more proud of than anything I've ever written in my life. And that's why I'm so excited about it and why I'm like making that big leap, because it's like I want people to experience this. I think it's going to be really cool and different. And so I apologize because I don't want to be vague, but I just, I don't want to ruin what I'm very excited about. But yeah, there's just twists and turns and ideas and that have they're so, in my opinion, well thought out that it's kind of giving me confidence in myself, where I feel like I've sort of hit this avalanche mode where it's like I just am writing and I have this good method of, taking breaks and revising and returning and revising again. And it's led to what I think has been my best writing. So I'm very excited to start showing that at some point in the number of years coming. But of course, we want to take our time with it. So that would be my answer, Sean. Sure. All right. Next write-in comes from Bearded Panda. What's up, MMP and that good old D? I'm going to be very honest. I feel like you are being a bit overly critical with the Ascent. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, quote, you are not playing the game the right way, unquote, because I find that argument extremely flawed, nor does being a small indie team. I finished the game yesterday and did about 85% of the side content. Overall, I think it was an excellent game with unfortunately quite a few bugs. That being said, I feel as though I would have not enjoyed it as much if it had not been for your first impression video. If it had gone up if I had gone into the game just off of Karak and Skillup's very positive buy now reviews, I feel I would have thought this game was mediocre due to having too high an expectation. So while I don't fully agree with your impressions and review last podcast, it most definitely helped set my expectations for the Ascent. Keep having horrible takes, Matty, like hating Pokemon Snap or Forza Horizon 5. Con him more. Bearded Panda. I don't think I've ever received a comment like that.
Fuck you, Matty. That's what it said.
Yeah. That is
actually no. I feel like he was pretty respectful.
No, he was 100%. No, I respect it. And if you think I'm overcritical, I mean, it's probably because I felt particularly passionate about why the Ascent was a letdown. But I'm not. See, the thing is, because I don't start off my statement with like, well, first of all, it's not that bad. I'm like, no, that softens the blow of what I'm about to deal out here. Like, I need to make sure it cuts through that there are significant problems with the game. I'd be curious to know, Bearded Panda, if you had the balance issues that I had, because to me, that boils down to math, which no matter the size of your team, I'm not saying it's a easy task, but it's certainly not insurmountable. Once again, it is numbers, and the numbers in this game crunch out horribly. And that makes it overall a very frustrating experience. You can forgive more things like, the waypoint sends you in the wrong direction, or just the trekking back and forth, the monotony of that, the story not really developing well or being interesting at all, despite the fantastic universe being the backdrop. You can forgive that a lot easier if the game's not busting your balls constantly. But when it is, I'd be curious to know if you've had that same experience. Because at one point, I cranked the game down to easy. I cranked it down to easy when
typical games journalist.
I know, right? What a sorry gamer I am. I had to crank it down to easy though. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I've done most of the side content. I think when I ended the game, I did 60% of the side content. It looked like, based off the achievement bar that Xbox has, it looked like I did over half of it. And maybe it would have made it easier if I did more, but I don't know, man. There were certain zones I was walking into where I was out-leveled by like 5. And I was thinking to myself, even if I did a quest or 2, this would not have been enough. So I appreciate your writing, Bearded Panda. And we're looking to do a Defining Duke Ultimate spoiler cast / review discussion on that game soon. Chow365 is up next. What's up, Matty and Dustin? Hope you guys are having a good time. We may have already answered this. I haven't read it in full. My question this week is in regards to the recent rumors about the GTA Trilogy Remaster. I'm wondering, what are your guys' opinions on this remaster collection? If so, what other Rockstar games would you like to see be revived? So we did answer that in full. he does wrap this up saying, "Thanks, boys, and have a great day. P.S. If Rockstar does not include a checkpoint system for missions, I will call my Irish brethren to prepare for war. I have PTSD flashbacks thinking about GTA San Andreas and that train mission with the big smoke on the dirt bike." Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a really popular one. Thank you for writing in, Chow. Sorry we already answered your question. Brandon Stark's next. Howdy, gents. I want to apologize for pulling a natural calamity last week. It was such a busy week. I didn't realize I had 2 write-ins that week. No question for this week to atone. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Dustin, how amazing is this? We've really just cracked down here. We've set a precedent on this show as my keys fall. Okay, truly the next question. Let's try this again. Golden Goose writes in, "Howdy, Ham boys. My question for you is in regards to the changing tastes in games I have. Growing up, I was all about action, adventure, and JRPGs. However, now that I'm 27 at age, I've begun to play smaller, more bite-sized games such as Trigger Witch, Habroxia, Death's Door, etc. I've even seen myself playing these in between playing larger RPGs. For example, I'm playing P5R in between sessions, which I normally play on my days off. I find myself busting through these smaller games that I may never touch when I was so younger. So my question for you is, have you guys noticed a change in the games you play or the way you play them as you've grown up? Thanks, guys. Hope that your day is well. And wish me luck at my interview tonight. Best of luck to you, Golden Goose." He wrote this at 8:45, so he was probably having a little morning coffee. Just going through his morning business, and he was like, "Yeah, let's write him for Ham Radio." So we appreciate you thinking of us on a very important day for you. Best of luck. Dustin, have you noticed any developments in your taste and approach to games?
I think that as I get older, I like more games, actually. In fact, there's very few genres that I won't play. Like I mentioned, not really liking survival games anymore, but that doesn't mean that I'm never going to play any survival games. The only game genres that I really don't like are racing, which I like Mario Kart, which it's not, it's loosely racing, but it's not that, and I don't even think racing's bad. I've never been good at it, and I don't really get them. Same with fighting games. I don't really understand them. I've tried to understand, and I don't. I think they're fine. I'm not drawn to fighting games at all, other than Smash. So there's always an exception. If there's a baby Nintendo version of it, then I'm in.
Yes, yeah, I was about to say. You probably hate sports games, but Mario Golf.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Maddie,
funny.
we've cracked it here. So, yeah, as I get older, though, I feel like I'm willing to try tactical games, more in-depth RPGs or JRPGs. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just an expanding horizon.
Huh. I like that answer. I'm trying to think. For me, I think the most notable development, because I always grew up just playing whatever. I know a lot of people think for some reason I only play RPGs. They're my favorite genre for sure. That's no secret. But a lot of people think I only play RPGs. And I mean, I grew up playing just everything. So it's almost carried over into my adulthood. And with indies, kind of like what Dustin said, as you get older, it sort of expanded for me. I'd say the most unexpected development was my adoration for MOBAs. The dying breed of MOBAs outside of the Titans, League, Dota, all that shit. When I think about that kind of you go back to the same map, the same pathing, you're just playing as a different champ. I'm like, this kind of grinds against things that I typically don't like in games. I don't like retreading old ground constantly. You can start to predict encounters, but there's something about the skill gap and the champion kits and the chemistry with your team, when your friends commit moves together, that is continuously satisfying. But also the enjoyment of a not full shut off your brain game, but I don't want to play single player game mode.
Right.
Because that's sort of what I've been in a little bit. I've played them a little bit. I'm in Neo. I finished the Ascent. But I was looking at how many games I beat this year, which is upwards of 30 plus. already, which is fucking crazy to think about. And I've definitely slowed down since, but almost all of them were single player, which is not a bad thing. Because I've been really hammering my backlog. But I was like, I'm thinking I'm going to just chill until some new releases come out. I'm going to play and beat Neo. But I'm going to just cruise with League for some time. Because it's just been fun. And I'm noticing that with myself is those in-betweener games are more important to me now than ever. Like Star Wars The Old Republic I picked back up. And that's been great. I've been hopping in and out of that. I think I needed those. So I think that's been the most recent and unexpected development is kind of the enjoyment of the online content that normally I'd stay away from. So that would be my answer.
Nice. Very cool.
All right. We got 2 questions left. Natural calamity. Maybe not 2.
I was going to say, do we natural calamity, is he exempt or something? Like, have we just exempted him from the 1 question policy because he's been doing it so long?
Yeah, right. I think because he used to write in with 5.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay.
He had the audacity to write in with like 5. And I was like, dude. And eventually he kept doing it, even though we were like, don't do that. And then he'd start doing 2. And we were like, all right, we'll take it. We'll take 2. And now we have a good rhythm here. So with that, Natural writes in. Hello, Mr. Matty destroys the competition and leaves none alive. And Dustin, husband of the year and man with a golden heart. Now to the questions. Wow, I destroy everything, and you are a loving person, it seems.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but thank you.
Question. Xbox is killing it, bringing all the news for the Xbox ecosystem every month, but on their August video, it seems there was a showing of Cyberpunk. It's probably nothing, but it got me speculating, and maybe Xbox is taking CD Projekt Red under their wing and helping them reorganize their game just like they did with Bethesda and Fallout 76.
No.
I don't think so either.
They have a marketing deal. Like, they released that special Xbox One that was Cyberpunk.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't see that being the case.
I agree. And, you know, it's just Cyberpunk's just a lot of people, I'm not saying you have it natural, but a lot of people just got to accept, like, it's just fucked. Like, that's it. It's just a shitty situation. I really like the game, but it's a shitty situation. And, I mean, we are now in August, and, you know, we haven't heard word of what's happening with Cyberpunk. It's DLC. If you remember the old roadmap, it was supposed to come in like spring. It was supposed to be sometime in, it looked like, according to that map, like April. And they released a new roadmap, and even that was delayed. So they're being smart by just shutting up and working. But I think those, like myself, by the way, who were expecting that 2021 next-gen upgrade and re-release, you might have to wait till 2022. But there's some shame on this game now. And you can kind of detect it, right? There was a confidence, a swagger to CD Projekt Red, its staff, the way they spoke on Twitter. And it's all really just shut down, which is kind of sad because the devs didn't do bad work at all in my eyes. As many have said, it's really just the idea that they were put in a really sticky situation by higher-ups ready to profit now in the holiday season rather than later and get a good game out. What's funny is if they do their next-gen upgrade this holiday season, then they would have landed in the same profitable period. It just would have been a little bit more of an investment. So obviously easier said than done, but I think what's my prediction of what will happen is when this relaunch occurs, I think Cyberpunk will be a Game Pass game. I think CD Projekt Red wants everyone in to see their redesigned game from top to bottom, and I think they want to make sure anyone can play it. That is my assumption.
Shut up until the next gen version's done, or current gen, whatever.
Yep, and once that's ready, I feel pretty strong that'll be a Game Pass game, because there were rumors that it was going to go Game Pass day one. I think the asking price was probably way too high, and Microsoft was wise to steer clear from it now that we see the quality of the launch. But with that said, I think now knowing a next-gen version's coming, people are really looking for a resurgence. It's the only game I know outside of No Man's Sky that was very much underwhelming for people, and they just want to stick with it, and they want to see it succeed. And I think they will find that path. It's just going to take a lot of time. Next question from Natural. I'm seeing reports that Halo Infinite isn't working too well on older consoles, but doesn't that reach a point where developers can't afford to go back and it is impossible to really bring an 11-year-old console into the future? Does it become less viable as time goes on? At some point, is it the consumer's fault they haven't upgraded and less Microsoft?
It didn't run very well if you had a 3080 in your PC because it's a technical preview. So it did run well on Series X, though, from my understanding. So
I was gonna say,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would hold out. I would expect that this game is going to run, 30 FPS, 900p on those old consoles. It's not, the people who played it, it's not like a showstopper when it comes to graphics. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think they'll make it work. Maybe it's disappointing in that maybe the game could have looked even better if it wasn't having to meet that low spec, but I don't know. It's just something that doesn't. It's disappointing, but it doesn't bother me that much for Halo.
Right. Yeah, I after Cyberpunk, I feel because it kind of just tails off of what you just asked. Natural is, it's interesting. I feel like since then, the last gen port conversation has really winded down where, you had, of course, Cyberpunk coming out with this very underwhelming, to put it lightly, PS4 and Xbox One version that barely ran. And since that low bar has been set, anything running above that, like even in the Xbox category, like I haven't really heard much about how poorly it ran on Xbox One. And I think it's because the conversation was more so focused on how surprisingly enjoyable the gameplay was and how it feels like they got it, which I think for now deserves its shining, its starring in the spotlight. It was a major question mark for 343, who's kind of made their own Halo rather than like trying to get what Halo actually did right. So I think it's a fair question. I don't think it's on the consumers at the end of the day because Xbox is pledged to support these old consoles, so they need to figure out how to make the games work on it. If Xbox said, we can't do this, we have to drop the last-gen version, then you know what? Yeah, then that's what they had to do. But to me, if they're going to support it, they need to make it work. That's just the reality of the situation. Because they're still selling it to you. You're still buying it for $60. Last question of the show goes to you, Dustin. Here we go. Coach Blue writes in, hey, Dustin. You spoke about how much you're enjoying Roller Coaster Tycoon recently. Have you tried Planet Coaster? It's the most recent amusement park sim to come out and looks really good. Give it a look if you haven't. Maddie, I hope you have a great day. Thank you, Coach Blue. Dustin, have you looked into this one?
I have. I own it on Steam.
Wow.
I played it in early access.
Wow.
And it was not very done. And then I forgot about it.
Oh.
I've never went back. I'm curious about it, but honestly, it's less intriguing to me because it may be a better game or whatever, but it doesn't have the nostalgia factor, which is something I love about Roller Coaster Tycoon. I also like the grid-based system of Roller Coaster Tycoon. The 3D games don't run off a grid, which allow you to be more customizable with your park, which is cool, but there's something about the simple grid layout that I very much enjoy.
Makes sense.
So I should probably check it out, though. Again, it's also on Game Pass, but thought of playing that with a controller. Ugh. Yeah. Planet Coaster Series X. So it was like one of the early Series X games, actually. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I throw that on the list. See what this park sim fad is all about. Even if it's not Roller Coaster Tycoon on iPad.
I know, dude. Well, dude, I've been wanting to maybe play it on PC too because there's lots of mods. There's so much modding. It's very interesting. So
what kind of mods? I gotta just know real quick.
There's just ones that you can make like bigger parks. There's like new rides that people have added, better AI for like you have like handymen that go and clean up puke and stuff, and they're stupid. They are dumb. So
I can see how that's a problem.
And there's like a mod that combines Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2. And
that's
like
awesome.
That.
That's like Tale of the Two Wastelands for Fallout. Combines Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
It's
that's awesome.
Open RTC 3 or Open RTC, I think is what it's called. But yeah.
Well, Dustin, I wish you the best of luck in your newest park sim adventure, wherever it may find you. We thank you. We thank the audience for writing in. all those write-ins are much appreciated as they keep the show afloat. So thank you all so much. And with that, that'll be episode 214. Jeez, I am tired. I fell asleep at 5 this morning. I just could not sleep last night. Yeah, I've been getting just really bad sleep this week, so I apologize. But anyway, this was episode 314 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. We appreciate all of you listening this deep. If you got this deep, hashtag Park Sim Dustin.
Hashtag
Tinfoil Dustin.
Tinfoil?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, because we talked about Blue Box.
Yeah.
Tinfoil.
I like that.
Let's do it.
So that's the highlight. You got this deep, you finished the show. Hashtag tinfoil, just like Dustin's glasses there. And with that, we thank you all so much for listening to episode 314. We will catch you with episode 315 next week. And until then, take good care of yourselves and peace out.
Until next time. See ya.